Hey everybody, what's up? It's Con503 here again. Today we're back with yet another Trashfind fan. This appears to be some sort of Lasco Galaxy box fan from the late 80s, early 90s. Actually, I think it says. Yeah, it's a Galaxy 3-speed box fan. I found it on the curb, and it seems to be in really good condition. Honestly, there's not a single grill slat that's broken on the front here. Paint's in good shape. There's one broken on the back. It appears to have the full-size motor still, although it does have that flat ribbon cable. Yeah, there's one broken slat there. And there's some rust on the inside, so it was probably used in a window, because it's right along the inside where the blades would throw that. But on the bottom here, there's a tag. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up on this at all, but right there's information. It says E20739 Type 1. There's an F over here. Style SL-SS. Listed, yeah, 120 volts, 2.2 amps, 60 hertz, 1990 to 91. So I was pretty close. Said the early 90s. And I think I already know why this was thrown out. What appears to have happened is that the fan got seized, or actually, is it seized? No, it's not completely seized, but it's very stiff, and I think it blew the thermal fuse in the motor. Either that or the switch is broken, which is highly unlikely. So yeah, I'm going to dive into this thing, pull the motor apart, see if I can fix it, and clean it, and we'll see how it works. So I've just gone ahead and taken the front grille off. It's actually a little bit dusty on the inside. It also looks like one blade. No, actually maybe they're all like that. The blades have an interesting design to them. They are highly discolored though, which is kind of interesting. They're supposed to be the same color as the case, because right over on the top here it says the right color. You look there, but these are like super off color. It's got a couple scratches in them. It seems like this plastic's deteriorating a little bit. But okay, so they are pretty free actually. If the motor was working, it would have enough power to turn those. I can tell you that. But I'm going to go ahead and continue this assembly here. Okay, so that blade took a little effort just because of how rusty that shaft is. So I think this thing was used in a window to exhaust air, just because there's a decent amount of rust around a line in the cabinet where water would be thrown off the blades. There's rust on this motor, and also the sheer discoloring of these blades. This is the color they should be. This is the color they turned, and they seem a little brittle and maybe even a little warped. I don't know if they're supposed to be quite that shaped. What do you see? See that? I don't know about that. This one doesn't seem quite like that one. Anyways, maybe it was stored in a hot place. Who knows? I'm debating the future of this fan as I dig further into it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this motor apart and see what we find. Here's another interesting thing. Just pulled the motor apart. It appears the front bearing is the worst. I don't know if this just happened now or it was like that, but that wire is nowhere near where it's supposed to be on the ribbon cable. I have a feeling that just happened now though, and I'm going to do a little digging and see if I can find the thermal fuse in this motor. So with a little persuasion, this ribbon kind of style wire came out, and 3 of them are really long and 1 of them is really short, so maybe this didn't just happen right now. The thermal fuse is right down in there, and it's actually jumping between these last 2 terminals on this little block here, so in theory I could just put the wire into this last one instead of here and bypass the fuse The only thing that's got me a little stumped here is that there are essentially five ports for 4 wires. And I don't exactly remember how they went in. I think it was like this. So it was really the middle 4. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then that one. Okay. I'm going to get back to work. That is one of the driest and crustiest looking oil wicks I've ever seen in my life. So this crazy mess going on right here was my rather interesting repair to this fan. So basically what I've done is I've serviced the motor here. Oh my. There we go. Hope that wasn't like that the whole video. What I've gone ahead and done here is I've stuck a couple of wires in where the ribbon cable here used to be. And I've glued them in, and I've bypassed the thermal fuse, and I'm currently jumping them to the ribbon cable the way they should be. That way I don't have to solder it if it doesn't work, because basically I couldn't get this ribbon cable back in. So let's see. That's high, medium, low, and it looks like we're drawing a normal amount of power there. And yes, I did oil it, it just hasn't seeped in yet, and I can probably add a little more. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm definitely going to solder and shrink tube these wires. But I'm also going to test it like this with the fan blade, see how warped the fan blade is. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've got the blades back on, same temporary wiring. Just making sure nothing's touching back here. And I'm going to test this out. I got the camera out of the Airstream. I don't know if I just said that, but here we go. Seems to be working. It's not really throwing out a whole ton of air, but it's working. And it's drawing a normal amount of current. I can't tell if the oil hasn't seeped in and it's running a little slow, or it's just got a very quiet low. But either way, spin down. I did add a little extra oil, so yeah, we got a good spin down on this thing. For how light these blades are, I'm surprised. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and solder these wires back together and we'll see how it comes out. Okay, so what I've done here, I've just gone ahead and soldered and shrink tubed that to the original wire and bent them out of the way here, and while it certainly doesn't look too pretty, it should work. I never did quite like the design that the Galaxy used here with this ribbon cable going straight into the motor, but it appears I've gotten everything right, so that's a good sign. So now for the cleaning process. So I think it's time to clean everything here because this box fan is large and I don't feel like scrubbing it. And also you could just see the ring of dust and dirt and crap in there. I think I'm going to go ahead and power wash it. Obviously not going to use a very strong setting, but it's kind of interesting. You can see the ring of dust and dirt where it was blown. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is the front of this is kind of brittle. I mean, I can scratch that brown kind of stuff off like that. But we'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to paint these blades and find a color that's similar to the back. But yeah, I was running this fan for several hours today in the window, and it worked great. So I'm going to go ahead and power wash this stuff, and I'll come back when I'm done. So it went surprisingly well. I was almost attempted to power wash the box too, but I was scared it would flash rust and look worse than it already does. So the front grill here is a little yellow. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. I accidentally blew off a little plastic here, so that's kind of rough, but oh well. I'm probably going to make this the back grill. Knob, just a little dirt on it, but other than that, it's fine. Other grill is perfect. Blades are interesting, so if you look at the back, we blow most of the crap from there. These are all nice. Front, we actually took a little plastic off. I find that when these things get yellowed and brittle. I mean yellowed, they get a little brittle. So if you go too hard, you can actually take a little plastic off, like that, and that. So I'm probably going to repaint this thing, maybe. Those blades still seem a little warped to me. I feel like it should be more like that than like that. But there's nothing I can do about it. Probably when the fan gets up to speed, it pulls them out a little more, but whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this fan back together after giving everything a good wipe down, and I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, one more thing before I get this thing all back together. There's actually a slight dent in the cabinet right here. You can see it's a little creased in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and fix that too while I'm at it. This will actually give you a better view if you look at it here. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Okay, so get it all back together here. I'm going to give myself a little more light. There we go. And it doesn't look the best. Those blades being the wrong colors, they look kind of gross, I'm not going to lie. But whatever. There's nothing much I can do about it. This front guard wouldn't actually fit on the back, despite having the notch for the cord. Something's different between the front and the back. I did manage to straighten out that dent decently. But yeah, I was going to try and use this handle as a replacement, but I found out it didn't fit quite right. It would work, but then if it slid out too far, it would fall out, and yeah, it wasn't worth it. So yeah, you can definitely tell this thing was used in a window blowing out, just from the yellowing on the front grille and the discoloration of the blades, and also the rust that's around here from water getting in it and getting swung around and stuff. But anyways, I have successfully repaired it, and I have a feeling this fan will be the subject of some experimentation with spray painting plastic. I might try and spray paint this front grille white, and if I can find a color similar to that, I might paint the blades again, see what happens. Because more than likely this will become a shop fan because I've bypassed the thermal fuse. And yeah, so let's give it one more test here, and we'll do a startup sound. So here is high. And like I mentioned, I think those blades are slightly warped, leading to a little less air output and a little more noise than it should be, but here we go. It still moves a decent breeze, but I would expect more for a 20-inch box fan. Here is medium. It doesn't throw out a whole lot of pressure. Like, there's air movement, but it's not a very high pressure. And here's low. It's got a very quiet low, though. I like that. Go back to high, and we'll do a spin down. And off. It also needs thrust washers, as you can hear from that sound. Assuming you could hear it over the dog. It's got a pretty good spin down though. So I'm gonna flip it around here, and we'll see if we can get any form of startup sound out of this motor. So I'm gonna start it up on high. Stop it there. We'll go down to low also. It's subtle, but it's there. It'd be fun to do some experiments with this motor, like putting a bigger metal blade on it or something, just wacky for fun. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alright, before you go, I did want to just do a quick comparison here. Here's the Galaxy. This is a slightly earlier Toastmaster, I think from the late 80s. Just wanted to do a quick comparison here. Just Toastmaster is a little bit thicker, probably by like less than an inch. Very different blades. But I was just curious about the airflows here, so I'm going to start this one up on medium and plug in the Toastmaster. The Toastmaster is noticeably louder, but also puts out a noticeably more amount of air. Interesting. Let's do a spin down comparison. I know that's not the best way to treat the plugs here, but Toastmaster wins. So it seems that even on low for the Toastmaster probably put out more air than high on the Galaxy, but they were about the same noise level when this one was on low and this one was on high. So it seemed to me, first of all, the Galaxy lost the spin down contest. The Toastmaster's louder but moves more air. This one's quieter but moves less air. So this one on low was about the same noise as this one on high, but moved more air. But also I did want to point out, look at the size of the motor. And that one's got the full size shaft. This one's got the smaller shaft, but that motor is probably twice as thick. So I just thought it was an interesting comparison between the two brands and the 2 years. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.